Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to get back on the 229 dev server and seeing the first kind of medium tank for the Hungarians. This is the Turan 1 and it's really nice to see it. You know, it's really nice to see all the Turans, especially after the Turan 2 being added quite a long time ago in the Firepower Battle Pass. Now, the Turan 1 comes in. The major difference between them is, of course, the gun. The overall layout is very similar, and it also gets this wonderful add-on armor that you see all around the place. The gun itself is the 40mm Mavag 41M, and what this gives you is not a ton of penetration, if I'm honest. You get 69, 58, 28 on the general APHE BC, so the one which you'll penetrate and do a decent amount of damage with, and then the standard APBC pens a little bit more, 78mm, 59, 30. Now this is serviceable at 2.3. There's a lot of vehicles which have similar pen to this. If you have a look in the tech tree for the Italians, you know, you have stuff like the M42 and also the M41 here. These vehicles have, of course, the heat shell, but the APC-BC is very similar in penetration statistics. There's also stuff like the M3A3, which recently got up-tiered. That one has a very similar pen in its stock round, so at 2.3 it was incredibly dominant. The Turan should be fine when it comes to its armor penetration, especially with this round. So that's the one at least I'm banking on. The reload on the gun is 3.2 seconds. You do have to remember that is also subject to crew skills, so your base is 3.64, and it can get down to 2.8 seconds on this 40mm, so you can just keep ramming rounds over and over and over again at the enemy, which is quite nice. Also, you have a 5-man crew, so 3 in the turret, 2 in the hull. This is pretty standard for a lot of the Turans, and means that they are pretty cramped, but also that doesn't seem to affect the loader, which they have gone kind of crazy with. The interesting thing about these Turans is the armor profile. So it's completely flat, very similar to Panzer IVs. They don't get any add-on tracks, so, you know, they can't be tanky at all. And these armor plates are 50mm, so most things are going to go through this pretty effectively. But the thing that annoys me about these Turans, and I get why they've done this, because it actually gives better sight, I suppose, to members of the crew, but they all have this box on top of them, and this box is always less armored than the general armor. So even if you can't pen through 50mm, you always have this shoot me spot, which is right here, and as long as you have HE, you'll be able to hit it, and then it will hit the commander, bounce down, and probably kill the turret. The other kill shot as well, if you don't have 50mm of pen, is here. There's only 25mm on the driver's hatch, and then also the machine gun, even though it's a little bit of a dodgy hit, you can 25mm through that as well, right here on the standard one. So it does have weak spots if you're struggling for 50mm of pen, but I don't know many nations at 2.3 that are struggling for that. Even the Japanese, who have pretty rough penetration, still pen that quite easily, and also could pen the 25mm. So yeah, the armor, no good. The gun, okay, is probably the way that I would put it. The general targeting speed on the gun and also the turret is fine. You're looking at a okay horizontal, with its vertical being alright for the BR. Obviously with the extra armor on the sides, that means that if you get caught out and you have to turn the gun to it, you do have a chance of ricocheting shells, especially if they're firing heat. You can see it's 8mm of structural steel. Underneath you have only 25mm, so anything with AP is just going to go straight through both of these. It's just not going to lose enough pen to be able to stop it. And then the booty is 25mm. The booty does have some interesting stuff to it though, and it's two things that work in tandem. First of all, the transmission on this Turan is pretty aggressive, meaning it's very good. It has a 260 horsepower engine, it's nearly 20 tons, so the power to weight isn't the best, But this transmission means that you can fly backwards and also fly forwards at pretty decent acceleration. So if there are any issues with you being in situations you don't want to be, or trying to peek around a corner and screwing up a shot, you are able to hit and then rock back very quickly. And also you have these smoke grenades which are on the back of the vehicle right here. You have a total of 5 of them, so you can drop the smoke, reverse heavily, and then kind of get out of there, which is nice. You can see here you got the smoke grenades as a modification. You've also got artillery, but not really a lot else apart from the round, which is at rank 3, which, you know, is going to be kind of important to get. It does have a coaxial 8mm 3440. This 8mm pens at most 13mm, which isn't going to be good enough. I mean, I suppose it would pen some very, very lightly armored vehicles, but not many around the place. So the Turan 1, it's looking okay. It's generally looking fine in those regards. It's looking like a pretty solid 2.3 vehicle. And since 2.3 is one of those BRs which gets up-tiered really aggressively, that's going to be the major issue with this machine. It isn't going to be the fact that it's going to be a bad machine for its BR. It's actually going to be a very stable machine for its BR. It's just that 3.3, especially with some nations, is really powerful, and 3.0 is also really powerful. You can see the smoke here, and then the reverse I was talking about. Like, the reverse is just nuts on this machine. You can see how quick it is to get going, and then even going forward, the lower end acceleration is just so nice. But yeah, the up tiers are going to be brutal in a machine like this, because the round that it has, which penetrates a decent amount, is not one that's going to do any damage. And also you're going to run into some crazy vehicles that have way too much damage or way too much armor to be able to deal with it. Like if you run into a T-34, which I know pretty much all the T-34s start at 3.7, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. But if you run into like a T-50, for example, and it's moving quite aggressively, it's going to be hard to hit it with the gun and then kind of moving from there. It doesn't have a stabilizer on the gun, not even a short stop. That would be kind of nice, but c'est la vie, what you're going to do. At the same time, I think this vehicle will be quite fun just because of the mobility of it and also the fast firing of the gun. So if you screw up one shot, like if you're not able to hit the target or if you're not able to do anything crazy, you can follow it up with another one very quickly, just like you would a Stuart or any other vehicle which is similar. And that is important for a vehicle at this level, especially one which doesn't do a ton of post-spin damage with its high penning rounds. You just need something which can and will just keep plinking and plonking and smashing away when it comes to this type of vehicle, and this one is able to do that. But there's so many different vehicles which fill the similar role to this one in different tech trees, and they all do, at least when I play them, pretty well. It's just the up-tiering potential which makes it super hard to use these vehicles effectively. Does it fix a lineup as well for Italy, which is, you know, one of the major upgrades of the Italian or of the subtech idea overall? Yes, it does actually. It means that the Semaventes at 2.3 have something to run with it, which aren't Semaventes. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.